The story of Moses, the deliverer. In the land of Egypt, where Pharaoh's word was law and the cries of Hebrew slaves rose like smoke to the heavens, a child was born in secret. His name was Moses. He should have been killed under Pharaoh's cruel decree, but Providence had another plan. Hidden in a basket, drifting on the Nile, he was discovered by Pharaoh's daughter and raised in the very palace of the king who sought his death. Moses grew up with the privileges of Egypt, but carried the blood of Israel. One day, he witnessed the oppression of his people and the rage of justice ignited in him. In defending a Hebrew slave, he struck down an Egyptian. Afraid and exposed, Moses fled into the desert, a fugitive, stripped of title and power. In Midian's wilderness, where silence stretched across endless sands, Moses built a new life. He tended sheep, married, and became a shepherd. Yet destiny does not fade. One day on Mount Horeb he saw it, a bush ablaze with fire that did not burn. And from the flames the voice of God thundered, "Moses, Moses! I have heard the cries of my people. I will send you to Pharaoh to bring them out of Egypt." Moses trembled. He stammered. He doubted. Yet God's answer was simple and final. "I will be with you." Armed not with armies, but with faith and a shepherd's staff, Moses returned to Egypt. He stood before Pharaoh, the most powerful ruler on earth, and spoke the impossible. "Let my people go." Pharaoh scoffed, but God's hand moved. Rivers turned to blood. Frogs, hail, darkness, and plague shook Egypt's pride. Finally, the night of Passover came. The angel of death passed through Egypt, and the wail of mourning rose from every Egyptian household. Pharaoh relented, and the children of Israel walked free. But freedom was not won so easily. Pharaoh pursued them to the Red Sea, his chariots thundering behind. Trapped between sea and sword, the people cried in despair. Yet Moses lifted his staff, and God split the waters. Walls of sea rose to the left and right, and Israel crossed on dry ground. When Pharaoh followed, the waters collapsed, swallowing Egypt's might in a single breath. Moses led his people into the wilderness, where hunger and thirst tested their faith. On Mount Sinai, wrapped in thunder and fire, he ascended to meet God. There, Moses received the law, the 10 Commandments, etched in stone by the hand of the Almighty, a covenant between heaven and earth. Yet Moses' journey was not without sorrow. The people grumbled, doubted, and turned to idols. He bore their rebellion, pleaded for their lives, and interceded before God again and again. He became not just a leader, but a shepherd of souls, carrying a nation's burden on his shoulders. Though he led them for 40 years, Moses himself would not enter the promised land. From Mount Nebo he looked upon Canaan, the land flowing with milk and honey, and then he was gathered to his fathers. Yet his legacy was eternal. Moses, the abandoned child who became a prince, the fugitive who became a shepherd, the shepherd who became a deliverer, the deliverer who became the friend of God. And through him, the story of Israel and the promise of salvation was written into history forever.